for you. I bring my poetry. Please don't erase me for you. I bring you all my love. Please don't evade me for you. My heart it only, my heart it only beats for you, for you. If heaven don't have you, heaven ain't heaven at all. Heaven ain't heaven at all. Heaven ain't heaven at all. For you, for you. I wrote my feelings down. Please don't evade me for you. I bring my poetry. Please don't erase me. My heart it only, my heart it only beats for you, for you. My little baby, if heaven don't have you, heaven ain't heaven at all. Heaven ain't heaven at all. Heaven ain't heaven at all. Please, little baby, for you, I bring you all my love. For you, I bring you all my love. Please don't evade me. My heart it only, my heart it only beats for you. My heart it only beats for you.
Hi, about
It
you, my friend.
has. It has been
I
a
will
long
tell you
time.
all about it. I
Uh
have
huh.
seen you again.
Uh huh.
It's
Was
been
that
a
Rakim? Or
long
that's not Rakim, is it?
day without you, my friend. I will tell you all about it when I see you again. We
And
come a long way
speaking of which, are
from
we going to see
where
you?
we began. No, I can't because I'm half naked. As soon as I get done with this, I'm getting in the shower. You know,
Oh,
today's
okay.
Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday. Tuesday's comic day.
That whole, yeah, my very long,
Long
exhaustive
day.
day.
Okay. Word.
So
So
Tenet,
we're back on that ish with the inimitable issue X, uh, who is back in hiding for the meantime, but he will show his face soon. So
and the always brilliant Flavius Maximus.
yeah, back. I'm back from the hospital. You try to act like you took five like me. Hop out the hospital like me, but you're not me. So don't try it.
And you call me inimitable.
Uh huh. All
I
right.
think that's
So
apropos for you too. So we're
thank you,
we're
thank
we're,
you.
we're talking Tenet.
Yeah,
We're
Tenet. So
talking
Ish
Tenet.
has
I
finally
got
seen
some
it.
things to say.
Okay.
I got some things to say. There's a few things. Where to begin? So let me just preface my commentary on this with I thought the movie was good.
Uh huh.
I
Good.
stayed up.
Just good.
Yeah, I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was a good movie and good in a good way, not good in a just good way, but good
Okay.
as in a good film. You know what I
Good
mean?
film. Good film. Okay.
I
The
will say
what
that
you
it
call it?
was
What's the famous director that gets it on with
uh
those films?
um uh wow. Snyder, not Snyder. Uh not Bay.
No, no, no. Definitely not Bay.
Well,
Okay. Good.
it'll come to us.
Yeah, yeah. It'll come to us.
To jump right into it though, I will say this. I thought like after the first 30 minutes, I want to say the movie was predictable. And what I mean by predictable is I couldn't predict how it was going to end.
Mhm.
I predicted like everything, every reveal in that movie, I knew was going to be the reveal, like almost immediately.
Wait, the reveal you said?
All of the reveals,
Oh, okay, okay,
I
okay,
I knew that they were going to be the reveals. They were so
okay.
obviously set up, and maybe not so much to someone who's not familiar with movies that play with time. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Sure,
but,
sure.
but because I am familiar with movies that play with time, like it didn't bring anything new to the table. It was a new
Right.
story, but the reveal, like I knew he was fighting himself. Immediately, I knew he was fighting
Yeah,
himself.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
You
Like
know what's
immediately.
interesting?
You know what I
What's
mean?
interesting is, I mean, I thought that he was, but I still wasn't sure. So it was like, in the end, you're like, oh, that's what I knew. But I feel like they still played with you enough that you were like, no, it's not going to be that obvious. You know what I mean?
No, for me, I knew right away. I
And
knew
you
at
knew
the
they were going to.
beginning. I knew at the beginning when he got saved. Once I realized this is once he got to the room where they were talking about inverted bullets, I
Yeah.
knew that at the beginning, that beginning scene where somebody walked up and shot the assailant, and he's like he wasn't on our team. I knew what was going on.
Well, especially because
However,
his face was hidden, right?
yeah, I knew what was going on. And
And how
then
good of a
every
fighter, and how
time,
good of a fighter that dude was, right?
so that these are some of, yeah. But here's some of my critiques now. Well,
Okay.
first of all, before I get into the critiques, I will say this: the end overall reveal was a surprise. The reveal that he was actually running the organization and everyone was working for him. You
Wait,
couldn't see
who?
that.
The main character?
Yeah,
Oh snap! I guess I forgot that one. So he was actually running it. Okay, that's crazy. That's
yeah.
crazy
They
that he was
tell it
running
to
it.
you twice. If you remember, the white guy, when he finally asked the white guy who you're working for, and the white guy goes, "You haven't figured it out." He goes, "I've been working for you.
Oh, okay.
You've been running this whole thing." And whenever the white guy leaves to go die, because he's the one that ends up having to unlock the cage where the bomb is in, because he's the only one who can do it. And so he reversed, he went back in time. So he's leaving at the end, and he's like, and that's why the black guy John David Washington is like tearful, and he goes, "Don't worry," he goes, "This for you is just the beginning. We'll meet," because he's like, "You recruited me. You meet me and recruit me." And then when he shows up in the car and he kills Priya, and he tells Priya, he goes, "I realized I was the boss all the time, and everyone has been working for me."
Okay.
Because in the future, he creates Tenet.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So John David Washington is actually the boss he's everyone's boss. That's why the white guy would never tell him who he was working for, because I'm working for you, but I can't
Oh.
tell you. You see
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was a great surprise. I didn't see that coming.
Okay.
My
That's
critiques.
dope.
My critiques. As much as I want John David Washington to be Black Panther, I don't think he's going to win any awards for acting in this movie.
Mm.
And I think his action scenes are bad.
Okay.
Like, you're
Okay.
not a martial artist, and it shows.
Oh snap!
Like, it shows, especially when he was fighting himself or when he fought those guys in the kitchen. It just
Uh,
wasn't good.
and this is a man who likes Mortal Kombat.
But
Ouch.
at least they had fight choreography in there.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
Like,
We'll tread that again sometime.
this
I
guy is this. I'm not saying he's not an action star.
uh-huh,
I'm
I
saying
got
you can see the way the cameras were cut to compensate for the fact that he doesn't have any real martial skill. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't even train. Like some Gal Gadot trained. She
Sure.
took combat courses, not like she trained, to become a professional or anything, but she took,
Right.
combat courses just to be Wonder Woman.
Sure.
You can kind of tell that he did.
Okay.
And I don't think his acting was great. That doesn't mean I don't think he's a good actor.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't sold on his performance in this film as far as from an acting perspective.
Okay.
Again, I still think he's a good actor. I've seen him do things that were impressive to me. You understand what I'm saying? I just don't think that this one was like, and again, it's still a good movie. I would tell people to go watch it. I'm going to tell my wife to watch it.
Yeah.
I just don't think it was like, I wasn't wowed by his acting.
Right.
And that's all. The other than that, I thought the movie was really good. I enjoyed it. I'd watch it again.
So yeah, I've got some similar critiques of the film. First of all, I thought it was a really good movie. I
Hmm
would say more than good. I thought it was really good.
We
I
agree on
like
that.
I like.
It
Oh,
was really good.
Christopher Nolan, by the
Chris
way.
Nolan, and I
Yeah.
agree it was really good.
So everything from just like this, the setup of the scenes. What do you call that? The
Oh, one thing real quick. I
yeah.
also love. I like Elizabeth Debicki, so I like to see her in films.
Which one was she?
She would play the wife.
Okay, I'll
I'm
have to
just a
remember.
fan of her
I'll have to go
for
back and
her as an
remember.
actor. I liked her in Guardians of the Galaxy. Um, I'm just a fan of Elizabeth. I like Elizabeth Debicki. All right, go
Elizabeth
on.
Elizabeth Debicki. So yeah, everything from the scenery, the landscapes to the setup was like really beautiful. I like how it came across there, and
Cinematography.
yeah, the cinematography. Definitely some good actors in there. Obviously, Robert Pattinson is one of my favorites.
He's a great
Um,
actor, though.
yeah, yeah, he certainly is. So I'll start with him. Uh, and we're talking about the character. We're talking about the role. We're not talking. We're just gonna take this off the table right away because I don't want to get into a whole thing. It's not. We're not talking about the actor. Okay, we're not talking about the
Even though he's a great
actress.
actor.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
said he
yeah,
was.
yeah,
I
yeah.
said he was a great actor. But we're not talking about the actor. We're talking about the role, and we're talking about the
hmm
character and how it was portrayed. I was a
hmm
little bit thrown off by that character. Like I kept thinking he was going to turn out to be a bad guy because he kind of had like a scummy. I don't know. He kind of had like a little bit of a scummy nature to him. I kind of thought he was portraying, and I don't know why he came off that way. And an actor that good, I feel like usually makes choices, or the director kind of makes choices as far as how someone is portrayed. So I don't know. Do you understand where I'm coming from with that? Does that make any sense to you? Like he kind of
Well,
seems
yeah, but
shaded.
I have a
He kind of
different
seems
conclusion. I
okay.
totally felt the same way that you did, but I think that was purposeful though. I think
Okay.
that was meant to throw us as the audience off. Like
Okay.
we were supposed to conclude that he was a villain or you know what I mean?
I see.
Somehow
Okay.
involved her. So I think that that was purposeful so that when the reveal comes that he was working for the main character the whole time, you know what I mean? It kind of sets it in the stone even more.
That's interesting. That's a little bit I don't
Because
want to
I
say
did get the same feeling you did. I thought, okay, he's gonna be one of the bad guys.
I'd be interested to see what the director and what the actor say about that, because to me that's a little bit, I don't want to say gimmicky, but it's not like, I don't know, it doesn't seem true to character unless there's something else going on we don't understand.
Well, the
Um,
film is gimmicky.
I see. I see. Yeah.
Like you like that. So that's one of the things I said early on. Like it doesn't bring anything new to the table.
Okay.
It's your classic time travel tropes, all of them.
Right. But
You
trying
know
to
what I mean?
purposely throw the audience off with a fake, character, like a fake characterization, is kind of weird to me. But that does go along with what you're saying about it being gimmicky. So okay, so there's that. I thought the action scenes were dope. I didn't look at the fighting scenes in that way. I just, big jumps from big buildings and lots of fighting forward and backwards, and I bought in. I bought into it. So whatever they were going for worked on me. Um,
So my description of the fighting scenes were would be slow and
okay,
plotting.
and plotting.
Slow and plotting. Yeah, plotting. Plodding. Slow and plotting. And they
Okay,
would it was you could tell they were done at like no speed at all and then sped up.
okay, okay.
The choreography, you could tell that those, especially that first fight scene where he was in the kitchen, it's like, man, this is not great. Like he's just walking You could tell he's like trying to catch his breath. He's walking and biting these. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm like,
Wait a minute, but why would you be trying to catch your breath if you're just walking though?
that's what I'm getting at.
Okay. Okay, then he's that out of shape. Then he's that.
Like it was like he was taking like it was like I was not impressed with the actual, not the action in the film, the actual fight scenes. I wasn't
Okay.
impressed, and I just think that's something that John David Washington, as he progresses, he will get better at.
Sure.
I don't think he trained for the. I don't think he thought it was a role that he needed to train for, and I just think
Shoot,
that
yeah.
comes with him being a young actor. That
Who in the
you know what I mean.
world? Who in the world says, Christopher Nolan film? I don't need to train for that.
I mean, Robert Pattinson isn't training for Batman,
He's not.
and he said it. Yeah, and he said as much.
That sounds like bait. They're trying to get the fanboys all pissed off. That's good marketing. That's all because they're
Well, he
doing all
came out and
this.
said that he just doesn't feel like he needs to get into like these stereotypical Hollywoodized type shape to be Batman.
Well, okay, that could be different than not training at all. That could just mean he's not going to go with the director's vision, which doesn't sound good. And they also have the rumors of him not getting along with the director and him like, him hooking up with one of the stars of the film and just stuff you're not supposed to do, for a good
Well, I don't think there's
atmosphere.
anything wrong with hooking up with someone else on the film, but because the actors do it all the time, but him not getting along with the director, it could be an issue. It all depends. Is he a jerk or is the director a jerk? Or
Yeah,
do their
yeah,
personalities just clash?
yeah. Well, I don't know. It seems like a recipe for disaster, and so much info has come up that it sounds pretty rough. Or it could all just be rumors and stuff to like
This
for
type of stuff,
fanfare.
though, with the director versus the actor, is the type of stuff that could actually affect the quality of the film, as
Right,
we've
right.
seen in the past.
That's why I'm hoping it's all just bullshit and hype.
I
'Cause
mean, for
I don't
me,
want to waste that.
if we're strictly talking Batman, for me, I'm over Batman films anyway. Like I want Batgirl or something.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'll even take
Did,
like Batman Second Son.
did we ever did was there ever a black Batman? Did we ever discuss that?
Well, yeah, that's why I said I'll take Batman Second Son.
Oh, okay.
There are two
Okay.
black Batmans.
Two black Batmans. Okay.
Yeah, currently, right now, there are two black Batmans.
I know that. Two black Batmans. Okay. And they carry a bat or
No, I mean, Second Son is another Batman, and Batwing is also another Batman,
okay. Cool, cool.
and they're
Well,
brothers,
and they're brothers. Okay.
and they're black.
And they're black. And did they? How did they end up? Well, okay. Let's not segue just yet. We'll get into Black Batman in a second. So okay. So here's my main criticism of Tenet, and I think it sounds like you are agreeing with me on this based on what you said. There are scenes. There's one particular scene where I don't know if he's talking. He's either talking to his wife or he's talking to another woman. It must be his wife because it's a tender scene, and it I feel like it's a scene that requires emotion and nuance, and it just falls really flat. And I just in my brain, and I know it's not totally fair, but I
Yes,
could just imagine what his father would have done with that scene. Just how he would have emoted and played with that scene and made you feel what he was feeling and made the other character feel based on what he did. And I saw John, that's his name, right? John.
yes.
Yeah, I saw him just like kind of fall flat in that scene, and I'm like,
Well,
what?
I
Why
don't.
would the?
What I try not to do, I think I'm good at it, is compare him to Denzel.
Yeah, yeah, but either way, like comparison or not, that scene should not have gone that way. it should have had some, should have been an emotional scene. It just kind of
I
made
mean,
me.
my biggest problem is where his lines where he's just having casual conversation that I wasn't sold on. The entire interaction with Priya and her husband, where he had the gun to her husband's head,
Oh,
was
yep,
just to
yep.
me,
Nope,
it fell
nope,
flat.
nope. That's true. That's true as well. See, yeah. I mean, that's even. I mean, what I'm saying is probably even worse if there's supposed to be a little bit of emotion to it, uh, because at least a casual conversation is casual. But you're right; those scenes, a good actor can make a casual conversation felt. So, uh, yeah, you definitely don't want to be making a semi emotional conversation fall flat. And maybe I'm even looking back on it wrong. Maybe it wasn't even an emotional conversation. Maybe it was casual, but I'm just remembering how flat it fell. So to me, it felt like it was sucked of emotion.
And
But yeah,
after watching that movie, though, I still, with the exception of the action, the choreography, his
uh huh,
his part in the choreography, I still see him as Black Panther. Probably even more now because his quiet demeanor is
right.
still T'Challa. You know what
That
I
is
mean? He like
that's
that.
true. That's good casting. You're right. The whole quiet demeanor thing. That's true. You ever think him and his father will be in a movie together?
I don't know. I know that for some time they didn't really get along, and I
Yeah.
don't know if that's the best way to say it.
Right. Right.
Because I don't know their personal relationship. I just know things that John David Washington has said. He's never had anything bad to say about his father, other
Yep.
than they never really had a real relationship
Okay.
because his father was in Hollywood. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
I
Right. Right.
know Denzel, from Denzel's perspective, Denzel always supported him, like when he played football. Because Denzel's a big sports dude, so he
Yeah.
supported, the whole football and all of that. And Denzel said he tries to stay out of his acting career. But for a while, John David Washington didn't even want people to know Denzel was his father for multiple reasons. One, because he wanted to do the Hollywood thing on his own,
On his
and
own.
two,
Yeah.
because he didn't really grow up having that type of relationship with his father, from what I can surmise based on interviews he's had.
Yeah.
He
Well, that's
doesn't have anything
interesting.
negative to say about his father.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because when asked about his son and like his son's skills and how he's doing, he just kind of gave a yeah. He's got somewhere to go. I mean, it didn't sound like that objective. I don't know. It sounded weird. It sounded like when asked about his daughter, he was like really proud, and when asked about his son, he gave a stoic, like he's got some work to do, kind of answer. And
It's
even
funny because they don't even look alike at all. Like I would
right, that's
never,
true.
unless you told me it was his son, I would
Yep,
never say that's his son.
yeah, yep. That probably works to his advantage of not wanting special treatment, you know,
Hmm.
based on looking like his father.
I think he has potential to be a better action star than Denzel ever was,
Oh well, what based on his physique or based
based
on?
on his physique.
Uh-huh.
Based on his
Yeah.
physique.
Well, it's kind of funny. The biggest action stars aren't really physiqued out like that. Who do you got?
No,
John
no,
Wick
no, no.
and
You're right. You're right.
Liam. What's his name?
Liam Neeson,
Liam Neeson.
even Sam L. Jackson,
Yeah.
to an extent, to a lesser extent, but to an extent for sure. No, you're right. But I mean, Denzel was an action star in a lot of regards as well.
Right. We need the Sammo Hungs and the big dudes to come out as action stars.
Yeah, but
Remember?
Sammo Hung was really that dude.
Yeah.
Do I remember Sammo Hung? I think he's one of the greatest martial artists in the history of film.
Yeah. He's great.
He's
We need more.
brilliant.
We need more of those. More of the big dudes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it can be. Sammo Hung was an exception to a rule though, because he was a
Yeah.
brilliant martial artist and a brilliant fight choreographer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is a brilliant martial artist and a brilliant fight choreographer. He's just kind of the exception to a rule though, because the rule generally is you either have to be comely or fit or physically fit.
Right.
You know what I mean? and
Mhm.
and you know, so Sammo Hung doesn't check those boxes based upon, your textbook Hollywood, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Criteria. He doesn't fit the bill, but because he's such a brilliant martial artist and choreographer, it's like, okay. Like he was never in great shape, but he was in good fighting shape all the time.
Right. Right. Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
So yeah, that was, I mean, he is the most senior member, the big brother of the Seven Dragons, which
Mm.
includes Jackie Chan. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like
Okay.
Sammo Hung is their leader.
Of the Seven
He's
Dragons.
Yeah, they call them the Seven Little Dragons. It's like it's Sammo Hung, Jackie Chan, Yuen Biao. I forget the other four, but Sammo Hung was the elder of their class. He was a senior member of their class,
Okay.
which makes him their, like, according to Asian culture, it makes him their big brother. Their,
Okay.
you know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
the senpai. So not, well, that's Japanese. He would be the senpai. He would be the big brother, the one that they all look up to, or you know what I mean. He was a senior member of their class, and they all came from the same class.
Okay. And speaking of looking up to, so let's talk Black Batman. So how did these two brothers become Batman?
Well, one of them has always been a part of the Bat family. Lucius Fox.
Oh, right, right, right.
So Lucius Fox's son Luke has always been a member of the Bat family as Batwing.
Oh, right, right. Okay.
And then the younger brother Tim, who just came back from military service, is now, his comic book is called Next Batman Second Son, because he takes up the mantle of, he wears a Batman costume, whereas Luke Fox doesn't. Luke Fox wears a Batman type costume,
Okay.
but it's not a bat, it's he's Batwing. His costume is
Batwing.
predominantly black,
Yeah,
dark
yeah.
black. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's
So
Batwing, but
you
his
know who I like for you know who I love it in the Sir Lucius no, Sir Lucius, that's different. I was about to say Sir Lucius left foot. You know who I love in that role is the guy who plays Lucius in Gotham,
yeah, yeah.
and he's been great in other stuff. I wonder if they'll tap him for some kind of movie on Batwing
Well,
or
you
what
already
have you.
know the moment they do a movie about Batman, a black Batman, the controversy begins.
Yeah, of course. That's gonna be great for it's gonna be great for sales and discussion. But I mean, I don't know. Some of the people are starting to understand. Like, well, wait a minute. This is from the comic books. So like, how pissed off can you be?
Yeah, but people don't care. You know how many people are mad about Falcon?
Well, that's great. Let
And
them
that's
be
from
mad.
the comic books. That's directly out of the comic books. Like
Yeah,
nobody got mad when John Walker was cast as Captain America, but people got mad when Anthony Mackie was cast as Captain America.
you come straight out of a comic book.
So did John Walker. You know what I mean? When John Walker got cast as Captain America in the TV show, people weren't like, "Oh, Captain America isn't a mantle to be passed on." When the TV show clearly showed you that it is a mantle to be passed on. It
Yeah,
got
yeah,
passed on to John Walker, and the only thing people were mad about was that he's a jerk, and he was great at being a jerk. But then as
yeah.
soon as it's Anthony Mackie, it's like there's no black Captain. What? Huh? What do you mean it's not a mantle? Did you just not watch John Walker become Captain America before Sam Wilson, just like in the comics?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because they're living up to what the show is talking about. You know what I mean? They're living up to what the story is exactly talking about, like racist
Mhm.
America and people not feeling him in that mantle. Yeah, that was great. I'm glad Anthony spoke up in general about Marvel films and just how he felt about the whole atmosphere and the lack of, black leads and all that. I'm glad he, decided to speak up on that.
Well, it makes, and I'm glad he spoke up too, but it kind of makes sense. And I don't look at it as like something negative with the lack of black leads. I would like to see more black leads for sure, but like we Marvel is doing its best to include those characters that are black, because there, especially in lead roles, because there just weren't a lot. There aren't a lot in Marvel comics, and that's just because we have a history of white creators, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, creating these characters that are now cornerstones today. You know what I mean? There aren't a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's great that he spoke up on it, and it's great that Marvel is going to, hopefully challenge itself to live up to the standard that he's helping to set up. And if there's not a lot,
What
then
has to happen is when those black characters arrive on our TV screens, people have to support them because there aren't a lot. I mean, there are
yeah.
now, but they're not in lead roles in that. And even now, right, with Marvel Now and that whole push from 10 years ago to present day to be more inclusive,
Uh-huh.
even now, it's like, okay, well, where do you go? Are we gonna take an obscure character and make them the lead of a movie? If
Yes.
they're it still has to be logical, it has to fit, you know what I
Uh-huh.
mean.
Well, hey, Guardians of the Galaxy and all
I mean,
that and all the
Cloak and Dagger had a television show, it was whack and people didn't support it and it was a whack show,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's a black lead, you know what I mean.
Well, yeah.
Straight out of the comics,
Yeah,
it's like,
you can't have a whack show. That's everything's off the table if the show starts off as whack. But I
right,
also
so we got, go on.
oh well, I was just gonna say, we need as many black creatives in there as possible. That's been a long part of the history too. Is that even when there were black characters, they were written by white folks who thought we all spoke in jive or something like that. So there
Well,
needs to be more black creatives.
now though, I don't think it's so much about black creatives because we do have a wealth now of black creators, of women creators, of just different ethnic people creating. So it's not it's about how the character, like Brian Michael Bendis is a white guy, right? But he likes to use and push minority characters and he does it well. Like he created Riri Williams. He
Okay.
created Naomi. You understand what
Okay.
I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
this is something that he makes it a point to do, and he is responsible to capture these characters. Like he's talking to the right people, because I don't think you have to be either black or like black people, white characters now. You know what I mean, and vice versa. So I think you just have to be responsible to the characters and to the plight of the characters and do the right research. You know what I mean? At least now, because I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you, but now because there's such an influx, I think that a black creator, the same culture, and do the research and do the work. And that created Riri Williams. He created Naomi, and he's very responsible to these characters to make sure that they're portrayed accurately, because they're characters from outside of his culture.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that that is more of a challenge and harder to do, uh, from a white person's perspective as from a black person's perspective, because we've been living in a culture where white people are the default, right? So for us to
No
write a,
argument.
yeah,
But what I'm getting at is from a creative perspective, we're not just talking black and white. We're talking Latin. We're talking Asian. We're talking like these are all the different types of creators that you have in comics.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So I 100% agree with you. But there's such a diversity when it comes to creators right now. Like
yeah,
it's huge,
yeah,
huge. Like it's so diverse right now that when you take, I'll give you an example. When you take a Marjorie Liu or a Sana Takata or a Stanley R. Lau or I'm strictly mentioning Asians. You know what I mean?
uh-huh.
When I pick up a comic, I probably don't just want to see every single character in that book be Asian because Marjorie Liu is writing the book.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? I want her to portray a real world and a real cast of characters. So I think for me, I'm saying the same thing as you. I think I'm just saying it in a different way. I think that I want to see people of color and different ethnic backgrounds be able to do what white people have been able to do forever. Use a diverse cast of characters and treat them
Okay.
well.
Okay,
You
so
see what
you're
I'm
saying
saying?
even when we are at the helm, it's usually like, oh, you guys will handle the black stuff, or You guys all handle the
Right,
Black Panther kind of thing. Right.
right.
I get you.
Like I
I
like
get
that.
you.
I don't like Ta-Nehisi Coates' Captain America, but I like that he's writing Captain America as well as Black Panther.
Right. For sure.
You see what I'm saying?
For sure. Uh-huh.
I don't like his Captain America. I don't think it's good, but that's my personal opinion. You know what I mean? And
Right.
but I'd like that. Okay, Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing 2 Marvel books, and one of them is Captain America, the other is Black Panther. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I like that Vita Ayala is writing the New Mutants. You know, Vita Ayala is a trans woman who is
Mhm.
of a person of color, and you know she's writing this diverse cast of characters that includes, you know, Magic, who's Russian, Mirage, who's a Native American, you know,
Mhm.
Sunspot, who's Brazilian. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she, you know, and that we have now this diversity of creators, and they're able to create, like, not be stuck in this box where because you're, you know, you're Latin, you have to write Latin characters. Because,
Yeah.
you
I mean,
know,
one day
historically
someone's gonna.
white people were able to write all the characters. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, one day someone's gonna figure out that there actually is money in allowing people to see themselves represented. I mean, I know people who feel like, and I've started to feel this way, like when you start having options, you kind of start straying away from the same old thing all the time. Like if I get to see myself represented, or I get to see more black horror, or just more shows in general that either have black folks or people of color, that's of more interest to me now, because A, we've been starved of it for a long time, and B, like I just don't have any interest in seeing like all white casts anymore. So like
Well,
sooner or later, either
neither does the comic culture.
yeah, but sooner or later Hollywood is also going to catch up and realize this too, because they're still caught up
Well,
on, well, we couldn't have a black lead because it wouldn't sell as well, blah blah blah. Even though the Force Awakens, kind of shattered that myth, and even though Black Panther shattered that myth, Hollywood always goes back into its same old tropes and same old shell, as saying why they do the things they do, including having white people play Egyptians and all this other crazy stuff that they do. But
well,
sooner or
if we're
later
talking
they'll.
strictly,
Uh-huh.
go on.
Oh no, I was just
I
saying
was just
sooner or
saying, if
later.
we're talking strictly, if we're talking strictly Marvel and DC comics, as it translates to film, Marvel is telling a story. So I get what Marvel is doing. Like Marvel can't just say, okay, let's go Black Ironheart. Marvel's story is, let's tell, like we did with the Marvel Universe, let's tell the story. Let's get the initial characters out there. Let's get through the initial characters and then get to present day. Whereas if you pick up the present day Marvel Comics line or even the DC line, the majority of both lines are led by characters that represent non-white cultures. The
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm
majority of
talking.
DC,
I'm
like,
talking. I'm talking Hollywood in general now. I'm not talking
oh,
Marvel
okay, okay,
or DC. Though I will say, um, no matter storyline, uh, folks can always uh, use their creative license to do, what they think is right.
yeah, but you also have to consider that comic book fans, including myself, I would have felt some type of way if you gave me Riri Williams before you gave me Iron Man, because the logical progression is now not there.
Yeah, yeah. I get that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you give me War Machine before you give me Iron Man, I'm feeling confused. Like, wait a minute. The only reason why War Machine exists is because Iron Man.
Right.
So I get what you're saying. I just wanted to give you that counterpoint that there's also this logical progression that happens to exist because of American history, which wasn't so great. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, well, but
nonetheless,
there's always another angle, right? Like I could say, well, okay, I'm going to follow that logic, but maybe we're not going to do 3 Iron Mans first before we get to it. You know, like maybe we'll do it a different way, right? Especially if if one or two of them are whack. Anyway, that's just a counter. That's just a counterpoint,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
There's always another way to do it. You can say, okay, yeah, we'll definitely introduce the other guys first, but maybe we won't have them on for 10, 15 years first before we, move into the present.
Well, yeah. I mean, no argument. I just know that like there are two black Iron Men,
Uh huh.
one white Iron Man. One of them's a woman,
Okay. But
and one
all
of
the
them is
more reason, all the more reason to get to it then, right?
yeah, but they're getting to both of them. They're doing Armor Wars, which will focus on War Machine, and they're doing Riri.
Right. But again, to my comment about 15 years later, that's all.
Well, Riri just became a thing in like 2016.
Well, yeah, that's and what about the other? What about the other one?
Well, they put him in there almost immediately.
After writing him in the comics?
No, no, he was created when I was a kid, before I was born. But he was put in the Iron Man films almost immediately.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
James Rhodey was put in almost immediately. He was in the first film. He was in every film.
James Rhodey?
Yeah, James Rhodes, War Machine, the other Iron Man in the Marvel universe. There's
Oh,
two.
okay, okay.
Yeah, he was put in almost immediately, like from the starting from the first film. By the second film, he was wearing the War Machine armor.
Okay.
He was in all the Avengers movies.
Oh, that's the character's name. I see.
Yeah, James Rhodes
Oh, that's who. What's his name? Dude from Empire was.
in the first film, but not in the subsequent films in the Avengers
Right.
movies.
Yeah, yeah. I got you.
Yeah, he was in the first film, and it told his origin story as just a general in the military. And then by the second film, he was wearing the armor.
Okay.
And then he's been wearing the armor ever since. And then he'll be the feature of the Armor Wars movie / TV show.
Okay.
And then Riri is getting her own TV show on Disney Plus. So they were on board with War Machine, which is you can't untie War Machine from Iron Man. So they were on board with War Machine from day one.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
And Black Panther appeared movie storyline wise pretty early on as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wasn't in the Iron Man or Thor movies, but he was in the second, was it the third Captain, the end of the second and all through the third Captain America film.
Okay.
So I think they're handling these introductions. It takes a long time to make a movie, especially when you're planning a movie universe that you didn't plan initially.
Yeah.
Like they didn't know that they were going to have a movie universe that they could build on. They didn't know Iron Man was going to be such a huge hit. It's Iron Man. No one
How do
did.
you feel? How do you feel DC is doing? Are they giving it justice now with like the extended Snyder cut? Is that pulling them in that direction, or do you feel like they've come as long of a way as Marvel has?
Yeah, I feel DC movie wise, no, because DC has totally different problems with movies than Marvel does.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with representation. They just have a different problems. Comic wise, for sure. Like DC's comic lineup right now, like if you look at what they're putting out every month, right? You're getting Wonder Girl, she's Brazilian. Yara Flor is Brazilian. You get Batman's second son, which he's black. You get Green Lantern, the new Green Lantern comic, which the leader of that comic is John Stewart, and the people it's a team of Green Lanterns, and the people on that team are Teen Lantern, who's half black, half Hispanic. Jojo Malign, who's black, a black female Green Lantern. Like she's on the cover of issue number 2. She just joined. You know what I mean? So that the
So
majority of that team.
if their comics are good in that regards, but not their movies, what about their animated? What about their animated films?
I haven't seen a DC animated in a while.
Okay.
But we're about to get Black Adam as a film, and that's gonna be probably DC's flagship. I mean, they cast
the animated films for DC still come out on point.
They cast a person of color as Aquaman.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I think that DC is definitely
who did for an animated film?
No, for the live action.
What live action are you talking about?
Aquaman.
Oh, you talking about what's his name?
Jason Momoa.
Oh, okay. Is he Samoan or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised you don't watch the DC animated films.
No, I do. I just haven't seen any of their recent offerings.
Oh, okay.
Their animated is better than
way better
than anything they put out.
Yeah, way better. I think there's some kind of Batman Halloween joint coming out.
The Long Halloween.
Oh, okay. Is that out yet?
No, it's gonna follow the Long Halloween storyline, and I think they're doing it because I think the secret behind this Batman movie that's coming out is it's based on the Long Halloween.
Okay.
Because we're only guessing at that because of how many different Batman villains are in this movie, and in the Batman Long Halloween story arc, all of his villains are in it. Like all of his regular villains, like the Riddler, the Scarecrow, the Joker, the Penguin, all of them are in the Long Halloween, and they've all been casted, exception Joker.
Hey, so switching gears a little bit, just something I'm a little bit encouraged about and excited about is
the exception of the Joker, because.
Hello, are you cutting out?
No,
hello?
you keep freezing.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. No, I was just saying.
You just keep freezing. Your screen freezes.
Oh, well, shit. I'm here too. Okay. Can you still hear
switching
me?
Gears.
Oh yes. Switching gears. Something I'm excited about and encouraged about is, since I've been on the oxygen, the exercise that I've been able to put in is, I've been able to go a lot farther. And I don't know how much of this, weight is obviously going to be water weight because I'm on water pills to help me reduce my swelling. But I'm down 28 pounds since since I was weighed in the hospital 8 days ago. How much water weight can you lose versus like fat?
It all depends on your body. That's trying to think of the way to say this. That's not the best way to ask that question, I guess.
Okay.
Because that's certainly dependent on each individual and how much water weight they have, which it's hard to tell without doing like a BMI index, body mass index, and determine how much of your mass is water weight.
Well, how much? Well, okay. So another way to ask it: how much water weight can a person hold?
Again, that's subjective.
Okay.
Like that depends on the person. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not like it just depends on one, you don't want to be dehydrated.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no, it's a prescribed. Yeah.
But it's just subjective. Like, so it's called BMI, body mass index, right?
Okay.
So they determine your body mass index, and once they determine your body mass index, the index determines is an aggregate of all of the different types of things that give you weight, be it muscle, be it fat, be it water, be it salt. You see what I'm saying?
I see.
And then from that, you'll be able to determine, well, what percentage of your weight is water, what percentage is fat, what percentage is muscle, what percentage is bone. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, this is good to know. There might be a sheet around here that has my BMI on it, but I'll definitely ask my doctors when I see them. for all this info.
Yeah, each person, it varies from person to person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm just interested in figuring out how much of it is, just the water and the water pills that I'm taking, and then how much of it is, the diet that I'm subscribing to and the walking that I'm doing. I mean, either way,
Hmm.
I feel a lot better. But I guess the point that I was getting at is now I'm able to see like the fruits of my labor. I kind of feel like all
Hmm.
the healthy eating and the carrots and the apples and all that I was doing before was kind of like fruitless, no pun intended. And then the walking was like very difficult, but now, I kind of feel like that stuff is going to, I don't know. Well, first of all, the discipline that I already accrued before, I'm able to apply now in a time that's more fruitful. So that's good. But yeah, I feel like I'm going to accelerate pretty quickly.
Just be careful about the psychology of hitting a wall, like in anything that we do,
Yeah,
physical training, be it weight loss or weight gain for muscle, we hit
yeah,
a wall because you
yeah.
get what's called new gains. Even in weight loss, right? You get
Uh huh.
they're called new gains, meaning you see the biggest increase at the beginning.
Right, right.
Someone who starts working out tomorrow are going to see their greatest gains over their first 90 days.
Okay. So what do you
Someone
do?
who
What do you
starts
do when you
losing
hit that?
weight,
What do you do when
you
you hit the
just got to
wall?
mentally push through it. You just have to mentally realize, okay, I'm now hitting the wall. There's going to come a point where you feel like it's just not, you're not progressing any further. And
Now,
that's
do I
the wall.
like do I walk longer, harder, faster, and cut like calories when I hit a wall, or do I just go through it?
So you don't want to do anything detrimental to your physical health as far as like your diet, right? You don't want to
Uh-huh.
start starving yourself. Not
Yeah, yeah,
you,
of
but
course, of course. Yeah,
I'm just speaking in general, right?
sure.
You once you hit a wall, so like if you look at it the opposite, right? So if the opposite, if you were training to gain muscle mass, right? Within 90 days, you're going to hit a wall because you're going to see your greatest gains in that first 90 days. And then your body's going to adjust and become comfortable with what you're doing. So then
Hmm.
incrementally, you begin to increase. You know what I mean?
I
Now you have
see.
to, in increments, you begin to increase. So then once you hit that wall with weight loss or getting healthy, whatever it is you're doing, once you hit that wall and your body now adjusts and is comfortable to what you're doing, it'll level out. So
Okay.
then you incrementally
Do an extra
increase what it
block.
is you're doing.
Do
Yes.
do a block that has an incline on it. Start to slowly. I
Yes.
got you. I got you.
You see what
Yeah,
I'm saying? And then
yeah,
you
yeah,
just push through. You got to, because it'll be mental and you just push through that. You know what I mean? Like, okay,
yeah,
I hit the wall. This is
yeah.
what it is. My body's comfortable with this. It's used to it. You understand what I'm saying? What I have been doing, this is the extent of what I'm going to get from
And
what I
you're saying
have
that
been
you
doing.
usually comes around 90 days.
If, if you were doing the opposite, right? Like if you just were, say you were just some, real thin guy who decided I want to start working out.
Okay.
In about 90 days. It's the reason why all of those, if you ever see those programs that they sell you on TV that actually work, like P90X or
Uh huh.
like all of those fitness programs, the reason why they work, like P90X, the 90 is in there for 90 days. The reason why they work is because they capitalize of what we call beginner gains.
So they give you a 90 day guarantee.
Yeah, because it capitalizes off, if you do half of what they tell you to do over the course of 90 days, you'll see results
Right.
because you're capitalizing off beginner gains.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Beginner gains is the greatest period of gain that you will see in the entire. You could train. I could train for years, but the
So you're never
greatest
gonna.
gain in the shortest period of time. Go on.
So
I'm
you're
sorry.
never gonna see a 100 day guarantee or a 120-day guarantee.
I mean, you will, but you're gonna hit a wall within 90 days,
Yeah.
and then
No,
you're
it
gonna
just
have
wouldn't
to.
be.
You're
It
gonna have
just
to.
wouldn't be good marketing. It wouldn't be good marketing to give someone a 100 or 120-day guarantee when you know that they're gonna start
Right.
feeling rough after 90.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And that's just how the human body works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whenever you first start to do something, that's when you start to see, you begin to see the greatest gains because it's something you weren't doing.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
now you are. Now, once your body gets comfortable and used to doing it, then you level out until you either add to what it was that you were doing in order to go beyond those gains, so to speak.
Word. Well, I think this is a good stopping point. We can continue, but I'm going to stop the recording because I think we have a good rounded out bit of a show here. So thanks again. Back in it, back in that ish, off that ish,
On that ish.
back on that ish with the inimitable Issue X. And of course, I am Flavius Maximus, aka Flavius Octavius Maximus, aka Holla at your boy. One.
Holler.